you. Kaz, right? Kaz is a first-time caller from Australia. Kaz, thank you for calling and thank you for
Hello,
holding. How you doing, buddy?
Jesse. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Hola.
And assalamu alaikum.
Si, mamma mia.
Assalamu alaikum, Jesse.
Mamma mia.
Jesse, I want to ask you a question. I'm looking for a Christian girl, a Muslim, yeah?
Right.
But I want to marry a Christian girl. Is this allowed?
Why do you want to marry a Christian girl if you're a Muslim?
Because they're pretty and, they've got blue eyes and blonde hair.
They don't have that in the Muslim world?
Not so much. I mean, the complexions are different in different parts of the world.
But Muslims
generally,
I wouldn't recommend that you marry a Christian girl because Muslims hate Christians.
No, who said that? I love Christian girls. I mean,
How about
they're
Christian,
pretty,
period?
they're easy.
Do you love Christians?
Huh?
You love Christians?
Yeah,
You love Jews?
yeah.
Well, why are you a Muslim?
I mean, I was born in that. Yeah, I didn't choose it.
Why not get out of it? It's not it's not the right thing to be a part of.
Get out of it and go to Christians.
Right. Christianity is the best religion on this side of heaven.
Christians is a true religion. It's one of the religions of the God, along with Judaism and Islam. They call the people of the book. They're called.
But Islam,
in the scripture.
Islam is not a real religion, isn't? Is it?
Well, it is because it came after Christianity. I mean,
But why are they so evil, though? Why are they so radical? Why do they hate the Christians and Jews?
I'll tell you why. Not all of them hate, but it's the education and the mentality of some of the Muslim world is, like you said, it's dominated by a single person, and that's equivalent to the civil rights movement leaders. So they're like making the people angry, and therefore they're finding the scapegoat, which is sometimes happen to be the Christians and the Jews. And the people are not aware of, that Christians are just like normal people, just like anyone else.
And why is it that I don't see a lot of protests from people like you disagreeing with these people in a public way so that we would know that not all Muslims are alike?
Well, I mean, protests in which country? In like the Western countries? Protest against that?
I mean, no, over there too, all over, wherever these people are pushing this.
You cannot protest over there because the government is pretty brutal when it comes to protests and things like that. It's not like America or like the Western world where you have free speech and the right to mobilize and go and voice your opinion.
Right.
There, it's you'll be met by bullets, and probably people would prefer to live and see another day than like.
So are they on
protest in the streets?
Can you protest in Australia against the Muslim?
Against the Muslims?
Yeah, those people who are making the Muslim religion look bad. Can you protest against over to Australia? Can you protest against them?
I will never protest against the Australians. I will only protest if the rights of the Australian people are.
Can the Muslim that lives in Australia, can they protest or will they protest against the radical Muslims in the public way?
Yes, they would. I've seen many protests against radical, but the thing is, it becomes more complicated because Islam is dominated by an ideology, and you cannot go and protest an ideology because people believe in an ideology. And people don't go and protest against other people because there is no single leadership that actually, allows them or informs them to go and protest.
But
So
they protest
there is
against they protest against the Christians, the Muslims do, and against the Jews. Why can't they protest against
that's wrong.
Why can't they protest against their own religion?
It's wrong to protest against the Christians. You move to a Western country and you have to respect the laws of the land. You cannot go and change and expect people to convert to your religion. As one of the good things about living in these countries is that it allows you to practice whatever form of religion that you practice without infringing on the rights of others.
But
some people take that.
But are you for the Sharia law? Are you in favor of that? Support that?
There's only two countries that do Sharia law, and it's Iran and Saudi Arabia. It's the only two countries in the Muslim world that actually implement a basic version of Sharia law.
Do you support Sharia law? Do you support it?
I don't know it, but if it's going to hurt people and it's going to change people's cultures, of course I'm not in support of it. I like to see people who do whatever they would like to do and succeed in whatever business or venture they.
But let me ask you this. Let me ask one more question. I noticed that the Mexicans and the blacks from other countries, the Muslims and others are willing to run, especially the men too. They're willing to leave their country and come to my country and try to change it, rather than standing up and dying for the freedom in their own country. Why is that?
I'll tell you why. It's a good question, actually. When you're born in those countries, Jesse, and you're growing up, when you're a kid, you're an innocent child, so you don't really have, concrete ideas. The only thing that will come on your mind is, I want to move to America because America has all the good things.
But why are they willing to fight, though? But they're willing to fight to come here, but they won't fight to stay home. I'm sorry?
Right. Because there's no such thing as patriotism, the equivalence to American patriotism. That whole idea does not exist. So when that idea doesn't exist, you cannot expect people to die for their countries. They will just run away. It's if you ask me, I wouldn't do that. But for the people that do that, you're right. They should stay and try and change things internally.
Yeah, because they'll come to our country and play brave. There's we have a woman by the name of Eliane Omar, and another one by the name of Rashida Tlaib, and they're Muslims.
Yes.
And they're in our government, and they're talking all tough against Jews and against Americans, but they won't go back home and fight against what's happening in their own home.
Well, look, I agree with you. I mean, if they're in the government and they're sort of talking, preaching something that's un-American, then they shouldn't be in that position.
Right.
But I mean, it's the people that elect them. I see this from the outside point of view, and the American politics is very toxic. So it's inevitable that you'll have toxic people elected to counterbalance the other side. So whoever is being elected nowadays, it'll be nice to see someone who's neutral and who could actually sit and see, the two sides. And
come back to the phone, Kaz. We're not understanding you. Come back to the phone.
I'm next to the phone, but I'll repeat what I said. I mean, the nature of the American political system right now is very toxic. So whoever you have in the government or in the elected representatives will be toxic personalities, right?
Yeah.
So
give me a yes or no.
I'm not in America. I can't.
Do you support
What's that?
Sharia law personally? Do you support it?
No, I don't live by Sharia law. I don't force my wife or my kids to follow Sharia law. I'm not in that frame of mind because I've lived in Australia for over 20 years, and I've taken the good things from Australia.
I've heard that, and I've not been there yet, but I heard that Sharia law runs. That I hear that there are Sharia law no zones all over Europe. Is that true?
I'm not from Europe, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Sharia law no go zones. Even the cops can't go in those areas because of Sharia law.
I wouldn't be surprised if there were. But, Jesse, the majority of people, Muslims, they're good people. They're good people.
It's hard for me to believe it because I don't ever see them standing up and marching and protesting and denouncing Islam. They seem to go along with it. And I know in their Quran, they are taught to hate the Christians and Jews, and that you can deceive.
That's incorrect.
And that you can deceive them. You can do whatever it takes. And I see that happening with this woman, Omar and Khalid. They're lying, but they pretended to be friends until they were voted in. And now that they're voted in our government, the real person is coming out.
Yeah, but they're not representatives of the Quran. Those two people that you've just mentioned, I guarantee you they probably haven't even read the Quran in their lives.
Oh, most Muslims are liberal, right? Am I right about that?
No, they're not liberal. Far from liberal.
Most Muslims are not liberal?
No.
I've never met one that wasn't liberal.
Well, you haven't met you've only met the Muslims that live in America, but the majority of Muslims wouldn't have a point of view on which political side they would choose on because they inherit a dictator from one generation to the other.
Oh, I see. Because in America, they vote Democrat at a rate of 60 to 80%. Most of them
are.
Most of them.
I don't know what they do in America.
Yeah, most of them are Democrat. They lean the Democratic way, and they are socialists as well. They love socialism.
I suppose they align themselves with whoever gives them a positive future opportunities.
No, Democrats are just using them for both. They don't care about them. Kes, call me again. I appreciate you, man. Call me again. I got to take a break. Top of the hour.